it has been explained that the conditioned soul is put into under Tamisra and Tamisra hellish conditions. And after suffering there, he gets a hellish body like the dogs or hogs. After several such births, he again comes into the form of a human being. How the human being is born is also described by Kapila Deva. The human being develops in the mother's abdomen and suffers there and comes out again. After all these sufferings, if he gets another chance in a human body and wastes his valuable time in the association of persons who are concerned with sex life and palatable dishes, then naturally he again glides down to the same Andhatamisra and Tamisra hells. Generally, people are concerned with the satisfaction of the tongue and satisfaction of the genitals. That is material life. Material life means eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy, with no concern for understanding one's spiritual identity and the process of spiritual advancement. Since materialistic people are concerned with the tongue, belly, and genitals, if anyone wants to advance in spiritual life, he must be very careful about associating with such people. To associate with such materialistic men is to commit purposeful suicide in the human form of life. It is said, therefore, that an intelligent man should give up such undesirable association and should always mix with saintly persons. When he is in association with saintly persons, all his doubts about the spiritual expansion of life are eradicated, and he makes tangible progress in the path of spiritual understanding. It is also sometimes found that people are very much addicted to a particular type of religious faith. Hindus, Muslims, Christians are faithful in their particular type of religion, and they go to the church, temple, or mosque. But unfortunately, they cannot give up the association of persons who are too much attached to sex life and to the satisfaction of the palate. Here it is clearly said that one may officially be a very religious man, but if he associates with such persons, then he is sure to slide down to the darkest region of hell. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So after describing how the living entity in the womb of the human mother undergoes misery, following which he makes very intense prayers to the Supreme Lord that he would not want any more birth again. After explaining all the prayers of the living entity in the womb of the mother, and then after describing how, as soon as the baby is born, due to the trauma of the pain, the baby forgets everything that he prayed in the womb, and then it starts associating with the new world of parents and people around in the world, and completely forgets, again goes into forgetfulness. Then it is said here, now further Kapila Deva is describing how the living entity, it associates, by associating with the wrong kind of persons or unrighteous persons, means those whose goal in life is sensual enjoyment. He again goes down to the hell as before. So the journey of the living entity in this material world of repeated birth and death in the samsara, by various devices of ignorance created by Maya, is described by Kapila Deva for the benefit of Mother Devahuti and the rest of the future population. How to become liberated from this entrapment of bodily identification and bodily gratification. And bodily gratification and bodily sensual gratification of different kinds in this body simply reinforces the living entity's misidentification with the body. We also saw how Prabhupada explained throughout that the goal of human life is to awaken our remembrance of the Supreme Lord, which in the womb of the mother we did little because of the intense suffering, we did awaken ourselves a bit, which is very rare. That is why it is said the human form of life is very rare. It is close to God realization, because just before being born, he was became quite aware of his constitutional dependence upon the Supreme Lord. And then again he has forgotten. So Prabhupada explained that the living entity's forgetfulness of his original consciousness is the greatest suffering for the living entity. Because of his forgetfulness of Krishna, he has to go through all these kinds of atmosphere, which is called the external energy of the Lord. In the internal energy of the Lord, the life of the living entity is blissful, Satchidananda. But in this atmosphere, he is completely trapped in different kinds of traps, which keeps him within the cycle of birth and death. Of all these different kinds of traps, the living entities associating with the unrighteous, who are actually described as those who are always sexually minded and who are after gratifying their tongue. These two kinds of persons, unrighteous. It is said that here as unrighteous, influenced by sensually minded people, engaged in pursuit of sexual enjoyment and gratification of palate. So, the whole world, the material world, falls under this category basically because you see that they don't know anything better. They ask life, right? I am born, so what am I supposed to do? I have senses. I have to gratify my senses. Otherwise, what is life? They're completely blank. Imagine our own situation before coming into Krishna consciousness. If you think about life, if you don't know anything about transcendental life, if you don't know anything about your true self, if you think you are the body, then what is wrong in my enjoying my body, enjoying my senses, as long as I don't harm anybody else? I'll jointly enjoy also. So make money, enjoy life. That is life according to them. Just see, they walk as human beings, but now we also have walked like that. But because now we have this Krishna consciousness, we are seeing that they're walking in such a deep ignorance that life is equal to life in this body. Life is equal to my existence is equal to this body. And therefore, what are the urges and pushes of this body? I should engage in satisfying that. And the society also considers somebody successful if he is able to successfully do that. And somebody who is not able to successfully make money, successfully, exhibit his power and intelligence and everything, then he is considered to be a failure. The whole value of the material society is based on sense gratification. That is why people feel, the parents they feel for the children when they join Krishna consciousness movement. What they are thinking is something is gone wrong with this person. Because I don't understand what he's getting there. He's missing out all that I am getting. Money, prestige, sense enjoyment, marriage, children. And you read Prabhupada's books and you get something else. You hear a pure devotee, then you see that life is meant for something else. Human life itself is meant for something else. Senses are meant for something else. Sense gratification is meant for something else. Sense gratification, senses, everything has a purpose. And I shall engage my senses in that purpose. Engage my sense urges, everything in that particular purpose. Not that we don't have senses. Not that we don't have sense urges. It is all God's creation. We want to be righteous. The unrighteous are those who do not want to, those who do not use the senses rightly as ordered by the Supreme Lord, the Creator. That unrighteous people. So, as long as this body is there, urges of the body, demand, all those things are there. But these demands, if it is not, these demands are actually not demands. They are all survival instincts. As long as these demands are catered to the extent of survival instinct, then that is within the ambit of dharma. Take tongue for tasting. We don't say it is, it's a nasty thing, taste is a nasty thing, sense gratification. No, we don't say that. We say that it is according to the direction of the Creator, direction of Lord Krishna, that if I engage my tongue to take that much food that is necessary for keeping my body and soul together, including tasting it, and especially if it is made into Krishna Prasadam, then that is a bona fide use, righteous use of sense of taste. Similarly, genitals, if it is engaged for the right cause as designed by the Creator for procreation, therefore there is some pleasure in it, because if there is no pleasure in it, then procreation won't happen. If there is no taste in the tongue, then nobody will eat. Just look at it. There is another perspective to everything. If there is no taste in the tongue, then existence will stop. So you should understand the purpose of the tongue is to motivate us to eat, to survive. Purpose of genitals is to see that the procreation happens. So there is some pleasure in it. So there is a right place for these things, as long as only the devotees who understand this. It is only the devotees who understand this, because they hear from the Lord's design how it should be regulated. The use of these things should be regulated. So even if you call it as gratification, it should be regulated. Taste is meant for eating. Eating is not meant for tasting. Sexual pleasure is meant for procreation. But that pleasure is not meant for anything, for the sake of pleasure. So one may understand, one may think, oh, this is crazy. What are these Hare Krishna people? All pleasure is only in this and one. So yes, we say pleasure is somewhere else. Pleasure is something else. When one regulates the senses and especially tongue and the genitals, he moves into higher taste of consciousness from Rajaguna to Tamoguna, Tamoguna to Rajaguna to Sattoguna. So the living entity's existential taste also changes. His consciousness also changes. If you want to enjoy Sattoguna, just like if you want to enjoy a sweet, you need to have a sweet tongue. In the same way, if you want to enjoy Sattoguna, you need to have your soul to be risen into the sattvic taste. So that is what these people, the materialists who are in ignorance, they don't understand. What is it that my son is getting by joining the Hare Krishna movement? I see him as a complete loser. Because they see that the living entity in the body can have different levels of self-existence. Can be in bodily concept, can be in intellectual concept of life, can be in emotional concept of life, can be in ego concept of life. That means that is a prominent. He lives for body, another one lives for emotions, another one lives for intellect, another one lives for only ego. Similarly, another one lives for spiritual ego. So, when the spiritual ego rises up, his taste will be different. So it's not that the person is same and then there are different tastes. Higher taste means higher taster also. That is the secret of spiritual life. Then they will understand, oh, maybe he is not the same person whom I thought my son is. He lifted himself up to another identity. And there he is tasting something else. So progressive consciousness means the experiencer also lifts up, experiences also change. The outside world is the same. Sense object is the same. But the experiencer has risen up. His taste has changed. His perspective and outlook towards the outside world, the sense objects, have gone to another level, something else. So for him, he is in harmony in another plane, and the others are in harmony in their own planes. So ultimately, spiritual realization means our experiencer should lift to complete awakening of I am an eternal servant of Krishna. It is not enough if you just simply tell yourself I am an eternal servant of Krishna. It has to be, we have to rise up to that, our consciousness have to awaken. The entire Krishna consciousness process is about awakening our consciousness. Intellectual philosophizing is one part of it. The first step towards it. Your intellectual awakening is only first step towards it. Spiritual life means experiential awakening, not only intellectual, emotional, sensual, everything together. Identity level, everywhere. And all that is how that is achieved not through a jnanic process, but through the association of pure devotees, association of the holy name, association of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, By association of that, there is a transmission of spiritual energy. We should not think that we are in this situation because we have intellectually understood Krishna consciousness. No. We are in this situation because we have received spiritual energy. We are another Prakriti we have touched. When you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Subtle spiritual energy comes into our system. That is why we are different. That is how our tastes have changed. So our secret is to take more. Secret of advancement is not in intellectualizing, which is step one. But including intellectualization, you will be successful only if you take energy inside. Association. So association is a key to success and the key to failure also. If you associate with the wrong people, if you associate with sense gratifying people, then you as an experiencer will come down. They'll pull you down. That is what happens. Our value system, everything will come down. And then we will see that, oh, this is what they're saying is right. This is quite nice. If your experiencer matches, if a bodily concept, somebody in bodily concept and he is in another world of bodily concept and value system of sense gratification, if you fall down to that level, you will also think like him only and you will say it's very nice. Correct. I do not know why I became a devotee. It has happened. Many times devotees who have left Krishna consciousness and then after leaving Krishna consciousness, then they, including some leave Krishna consciousness, I do not know why I was enjoying meat so much, I gave up because I went to Krishna consciousness. With a vengeance he starts eating meat. Because he did not give up meat. See, we don't give up, people who eat meat don't give up, when it becomes devotees, you don't give up meat because it is not tasty. The fact remains that you go into that plane, it is tasty. Why did it give up? Because the taster changed into another level. It is not the taste has changed. The experiencer lifted himself to another level. So this we need to understand. In spiritual life means I am changing. I am awakening. You should not think that, oh, progress means I am this, now I have to spiritually progress, I will be the same. No, spiritual progress means you will change. Spiritual advancement means lifting our consciousness, lifting our yantra to higher and higher sattvic egos first. Because anyway, these are all, if you identify myself, I am this body, then it is all false ego only. So false ego can be false ego means independent enjoyment. So you can, tamasic enjoyment you can have, rajasic enjoyment you can have, sattvic enjoyment you can have. That is why ultimately spiritual life is beyond even sattvic enjoyment, mode of goodness. But mode of goodness is a refined sense of individuality where some higher tastes, closer to spiritual tastes are manifest. So therefore, association is the point where our self lifts. For instance, you analyze something, why this sense gratification, why I should not engage in it and all that. The self is the same, but you are trying to see the objects of sense object in a different way. That's a very slow process. Another process is the analyzer himself lifts himself up to another plane. And then you start seeing things in a different way. So lifting this self to higher levels or lower levels, the process is association with like-minded people. If you associate with like-minded people, you don't need so many reasons why I should give up something. You don't need reasons. Because when you associate yourself with the higher-minded people, your consciousness goes up and automatically higher taste comes. You don't feel taste for it. Just like we don't feel taste for seeing movies. Why? That I who was enjoying seeing movies before, that I is gone. That enjoyer is gone. What is this stupid enjoyment? I am already in illusion, I should go into another illusion. He feels total waste of time. He is not interested in watching any movie. That do some spin given by some fellow. And I am surrendering my mind and my intelligence to one fellow who sat and wrote one script and made a whole story, and I am lost there. Already I am lost in Maya. And within Maya, another fellow writes another story, there I go in. And then I place all my emotions and everything there. So if some habit does not go, it simply means we are not taking association and lifting ourselves. Intellectualization is not the process of Krishna consciousness. Association is a process of Krishna consciousness. Even when we read Prabhupada's books, it's the association which is a wholesale advancement you make by association. By intellectualization, you make retail advancement. That is why intellectualization never helps us in self-control. Simply, if we chant our rounds very nicely, you will see self-control is achieved. Questions, please. Mike.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In this verse, we were reading about somebody who is in a higher platform, and if he associates with unrighteous people, then there is a chance of him falling down to hell, going down to hell. So many a times people have this doubt. Once you have elevated yourself, why are you so scared of associating with them down the line, or the lower mode people, thinking that you may fall down? So when you say you have pulled yourself up, then why are you thinking that you will go down again? And if you can throw some light on.
The process of association, you can be with somebody, you can preach to somebody without associating with him. When you associate with someone, then you leave all your guards off. That is the meaning of association, especially friendship. A man is known by the friends he keeps, they say. Because in friendship, you just cut off, you take out all the barriers. There is unrestricted mixing or association. So the loser is the one who is in the higher level. He is the loser, he comes down. Because water finds its own level. So he comes down. Here water is at this level, his water is at this level. When both are connected with a tube, who goes down? He goes down, he comes up. So when we say association, it means taking association. For instance, if giving association is not safe, then this injunction itself is not applicable. Because the weak has to associate and advance. And then you are telling the strong, don't associate with the weak. So when you say associate, means we should be careful about taking association. So we can give association. So that giving association is an art. In other words, you don't swallow their paradigms. And you are strong in your paradigm and you give. And if you are not very strong, then don't try to preach. Don't try to preach. Don't try to preach to one circumstance doesn't mean I cannot preach in another circumstance. In another circumstances, I may not succumb to such association, unrighteous association. Even if one is strong, for instance, if somebody is brahmachari or sannyasi, there are injunctions which are given about whom they should associate, whom they should not associate with. We have to follow those injunctions. Because this material world, this yantra, is created largely for being in this world. A very few, they use the yantra is very useful to jump as a jumping board to spiritual world. But largely this body, male, female body, is karmic bodies. We take birth for being attracted to male and female. So we have to respect the most powerful inner forces of our psyche, attraction towards male, women. These are all in our psyche. We have to respect that. I am not the body, but I have inherited a body based upon my past karma. So therefore the Shastras say, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this. So therefore, if a sannyasi or a brahmachari does not want to associate or have friendship with women, it is not because, not necessarily because he cannot withstand that association, but because he understands that I as a soul, even if I am determined, there is another aspect called strong karma and karmic forces which make butter and fire melt. So therefore I have to be cautious. So materially I have to be cautious. Spiritually I have no problem. I see everybody as soul. So even if a person is able to see everybody as a soul, still when it comes to he has his own body, and if he sees an opposite sex, he does not want to unrestrictedly associate because he wants to respect the laws of nature. After being born in a man's body, after being born in a woman's body, I become a devotee. Fine. To what level my body has completely spiritualized to lose all the forces of karma? I don't take risk. So these principles of association, which is there in the scriptures, is followed by those elevated souls also, because they respect the Lord's design. So within the framework of what to associate, not to associate, we associate. Somebody cannot say that, I only want to go to girls' college to preach. For sake of preaching. Nobody is caring for girls. Women are not encouraged at all. So if a young boy wants to head a girls' folk program, It's not compassion. There's a problem there. So principles of association have to be followed. Even if is a senior and very strong person, every occasion may need some association here and there out of exigency. But something cannot become a rule. A devotee has got a spiritual standing, not that one day he goes before the girls' college, he will fall down. Spiritual power is there. There's no problem. Once in a while you talk to somebody out of for service now and then. But if you make it a regular affair, then minds start relating. When the minds start relating in a cumulative way, then that is association of opposite sex. Situationally you relate and over, that is a different matter. So even in association, there's an art of association. We can give association. Whole preaching Krishna consciousness is about going and giving association to the unrighteous people. Don't take association. Devotees who do not know this, go and make friendship with the karmis, sit with them and hear all their stories. And then they also feel compassionate. They also take all their emotions, share all just like seeing their movie. Just like I told, we are given up watching movies. But you go and sit in somebody's office and then you start hearing his movie. You did so much to sacrifice your house movie. At what high cost? And then you went and going hearing somebody else's movie. Isn't it? So foolish it is. I want to be free from all these movies. All these movie rasas. I want Krishna rasa. I want Shuddha rasa. So when we go out to preach also, we should be very careful. Cultivating members, cultivating donors doesn't mean that you become part of their family. You've given up all family and come to Krishna's family. These are all standard mistakes that often happen in very serious, sometimes sincere devotees also. This mistake. That's why immediately when we come to know of it, we correct the devotee. Don't mix like that. Don't allow people to become attached to you also. When you go to preach sometimes, the families become attached to you. They depend on you. Don't allow that. You'll be bonded again. Devotees would like to be free, not entangled.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you spoke about intellectual awakening is the first step, and experiential awakening is the second step. For example, from Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, it deals with, I am not this body, I am spirit soul. So now I am not realized, I am trying to intellectually understand, I have understood. So in future, it may become a realization. So the first step is intellectual, then it becomes experiential. So at that stage, this intellectual thing is already present, means in realized stage.
Of course, it's included in it.
Yeah, now from that level, I move to next level. So for that, again, intellectual endeavor is there. Then again, with the, after that intellectual endeavor, it becomes again a realization, experiential. So how this for example, I am putting endeavor to, as Prabhupada said, scrutinizingly trying to read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, if intellectualization is not the actual process, but we put endeavor to understand it, so how it turns to realization, that this intellectualization, how it turns to, what is the process, how it actually turns to realization?
See, intellectualization of something is also you share with somebody, just like you are hearing. You are hearing, like when we read Prabhupada's book, we are hearing his intellectualization. You understand? Self-intellectualization is one thing, hearing intellectualization is another thing. So we are hearing spiritual intelligence. This is also intellectualization. Philosophy of Krishna consciousness is intellectualization. But when you sit with yourself and do it, it becomes speculation. There's no energy from outside. You put 10 marbles in a box and go on turning it. Open it after 20 minutes. You will find only 10, right? It won't find 10, 20. No extra energy has gone inside. Simply marble have hit against each other, those 10 marbles. And you think heavy activity is going on. It is called speculation. End of it, not one more marble is there. So that is called speculation. It's not intellectualization. But here what is happening is you are putting your attention into an infinite source of marbles. You are playing with your intellect is relishing it like this. So Shravanam. So by Shravanam we get into realization. By pure submissive hearing, the Shabda becomes Satya. The Shabda becomes Pratyaksha. That is actually the process of spiritual realization. Directly from the Shabda, transforming into realization. Because Shabda is nothing but subtle form of existence, subtle form of truth. So if that subtle form of truth submissively here and it enters our soul, that becomes realized. Because we go on reading Prabhupada's book, we go on hearing, what kind of proof have you got you are not this body? We have not got any more proof than what the karmis have. Have you got one more proof? You are not the body? No. In that plane we don't have a proof. But we have our proof is when we rise ourselves to another plane, our conviction is our realization that it becomes obvious. Just like Prabhupada says, realization, he explains, just like if you eat food, you don't need an intellectual process to tell you that your hunger is satisfied. Your hunger is gone, that's all. No, prove that your hunger is gone. My hunger is gone. So similarly, we tell karmis, you are not this body. What? After a few years to a devotee, you tell him, you are this body. What are you talking? So just see, go through another process of proof. Another kind of proof it is. Self-evident truth, you can say. Self-realization is self-evident truth. The truth itself will prove it is truth. That is called self-evident truth. Spiritual truths are like that, self-evident truths.
And Prabhu, the intellectualization is not the process of advancement you told, no Prabhu. But now you are telling it is a process in advancement. So how to which intellectualization did you mean? The jnani speculation or?
No, we should analyze Prabhupada's here and analyze what Prabhupada has said. That intellectualization is good. But jnani is intellectualization, that I can figure out everything. If you, instead of trying to figure out everything, you go on reading again and again what Prabhupada is saying.
That becomes Shravanam. So Jnana Mishra Bhakti means you have faith that you can figure out everything. This attempt is, devotee lose this, he's not in that path at all. Some people are in that path. Mayavadis are in that path. Jai Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.